Hey everybody, Louie here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brianne's husband, or the guy that plays guitar and sings for worship sometimes. Today, I'm here to give you guys some dating advice. Things that I feel have worked pretty well for me over the years, and so I would like to share those with you, because I think it worked out pretty well for me considering I'm with Brianne, and what an awesome situation that is. So if you're interested in how that all happened, please pay attention very closely. So first up, I want to tell you guys a key thing that I think is really important is starting out with friendship. And I know that sounds really cheesy and probably super cliche and something that your parents would tell you. And so you're already starting to try to tune me out. Don't tune me out just yet. The cool thing about being a friend with somebody first is that you get to learn about who they are outside of the context of you just liking them or seeing them through the rose-colored glasses of trying to date them. And so it gives you a really good insight as to who they are as a person, how they interact with people, what they stand for, the things that they don't like. And you get to kind of do that without the added stress of trying to be in a relationship with them. Because once you're in a relationship with somebody, it does get a little bit more difficult to navigate those waters of figuring somebody out. So I would encourage you guys, first and foremost, friendship. So what does that mean? Does that mean I text them all the time and blah, 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 blah? No, I think that hanging out in a group of friends constantly, as much as friends hang out, I guess. So if you know that everyone's going to see a movie, tag along. And if the person that you're interested in is there, hang out with them while you're hanging out with all your friends. Get to know them while you're hanging out with friends. I think that is first and foremost. Kind of weigh that out a little bit. The second thing that I think that's really cool about that too is it does give you a little bit of a time frame. Because, for instance, if you tried to hop right into a relationship with somebody, you're already, you might start breaking hearts from hopping into a relationship too soon. As opposed to if you were just friends, you could have realized things about them that maybe are incompatible, and then you don't have to you save yourself the situation of having to break up with somebody later. So think about that, okay? Secondly, be yourself in the relationship. So often I feel like we switch and we try to be these different people because we're so worried about how this person is going to see us that we start bending to what we think they would like us to be. And that doesn't do anybody any good, because down the line, it might work out for a couple months, but down the line, you go back to reverting back to your old self, and then later down the line, they're like, well, you don't like what you used to be, and the things that I quote unquote fell in love with. Be yourself from the beginning. Stand up for what you believe in from the beginning. Don't bend and turn into somebody that you aren't, So if you like a good fart joke, say a good fart joke and see if they laugh. And if they don't laugh, maybe don't date them. There you go. So in that too, I would say have a life outside of the person that you're dating. Okay. You guys have multiple friends around you, and what I've seen happen so often is somebody finds the person that they like, and then they start dating them, and then that becomes their world. They only focus on that. They shut out everybody else, and it's just them and that person. And especially within high school, most relationships that are going to happen through high school are not going to work out. So when you're shutting out all your friends to focus on a relationship that probably isn't going to work out, I don't think it does anybody any good. So have a life outside of a quote-unquote relationship, a dating relationship, if you will. Lastly, how do I say this? Set yourself up for success physically. Okay. I would tell anybody this, but so often we find ourselves, I think, in a moment later down the line where we're trying to figure out how to make a decision in a moment, and it's kind of compromised, as opposed to setting up healthy boundaries and guidelines beforehand. Because then if something ever got to a weird point, you could go back on to what was my foundation, what was my guideline from the beginning. And that helps save a lot of people, a lot of heartbreak and a lot of trouble, and a lot of stumbling. And so what I would say is figure out things in your life that need to be those foundational moments. So for me, for instance, if I was to ever be dating somebody, and with Brienne in particular, like if Brienne ever came over to my house and we were hanging out, I lived with my parents, so Brienne would hang out at my house. Obviously, didn't want to hang out in the living room with my parents, so if we went into my room, I would have the door open all the time. So that way, if my parents were coming to check in on anything, everything would be okay because the door was open. Shut the door, and then there's too much privacy. Too many things can happen. Setting a deadline as a time frame of like how late you can hang out. Most of your parents probably have curfews for you or something like that, but set a time that is the latest that you guys can hang out. Let's say that for you guys, 9 o'clock on a weeknight, 10 p.m. On a weekend. Just because as things get later, again, our decision making kind of becomes compromised in situations. So set up those guidelines and stick to them. I know there's others, but think of ways that you could safeguard yourself from potential awkward situations. And the reason that I say all this stuff too is because ultimately we're approaching this from, a Christian, a faith mindset, and we want to honor God with the relationships that we have with people. And so all of this stuff I think helps us honor God, and it helps us be better people too. So anyways, that's pretty much it. I think I could figure out other things to tell you, but stick to that stuff for now, and then maybe we'll do another video at another time. But thanks for listening. See you guys later.